Yeah, the cats are fine. I can't speak for the fan they knocked over. Or did they? Or was it a ghost? Spooked me. Cats and ghosts working together. Literally. But everyone is fine. Don't worry. Except for the ghost. Alright, where's my groove? I lost my groove. Her mother had been a doctor. She had joined the many women angrily demanding a better deal than they had gotten in the Soviet years, which had given them half the money jobs while leaving them all the work at home. No more waiting, no more mute endurance. They had to take advantage while the instability lasted. Everything is on the table, Maya's mother would exclaim while cooking their meager dinners. Everything is on the table, everything but food. And perhaps they had taken advantage. In the Soviet era, women had learned to help each other. A nearly self-contained world had come into being, of mothers, sisters, daughters, babushkas, women friends, colleagues, even strangers. In the Commonwealth, this world had consolidated. Its gains and thrust, or blah, blah, blah. In the Commonwealth, I'm not sure how to read this. Okay, in the Commonwealth, this world had consolidated its gains and thrust even further into the power structure, into the tight male oligarchies of Russian government. One of the fields most affected had been the space program. Maya's mother, slightly involved in space medical research, always swore that cosmonautics would need an influx of women, if only to provide female data for the medical experimentation. Spider. If only to provide female data for the medical experimentation. They can't hold Valentina Tereshkova against us forever, her mother would cry. And apparently she had been right. Because after studying aeronautic engineering at Moscow University, Maya had been accepted in a program at Baikonur and had done well, and had gotten an assignment on Novi Mir. While up there, she had redesigned the interiors for improved ergonomic efficiency, and later spent a year in command of the station, during which a couple of emergency repairs had bolstered her reputation. Administrative assignments in Baikonur and Moscow had followed. Administrative assignments in Baikonur and Moscow had followed, and over time she had managed to penetrate Glave Cosmos' little Politburo, playing the men against each other in the subtlest of ways. Marrying one of them, divorcing him, rising afterwards in Glove-Cosmos a free agent, becoming one of the utmost inner circle, the double triumvirate. That saucy minx. So here she was, having a leisurely breakfast. So civilized, Nadja would scoff. She was Maya's best friend on the Aries. A short woman, round as a stone, with a square face, framed by cropped salt and pepper hair. Plain as could be. Maya, who knew she was good-looking, and knew that this had helped her many times, loved Nadja's plainness, which somehow underlined her competence. Oh, she loved Nadja's plainness, which somehow underlined her competence. Nadja was an engineer, and very practical. An expert in cold climate construction. They had met in Bakuner 20 years before, and once lived together on Novi Mir for several months. Over the years, they had become like sisters, in that they were not much alike, and did not often get along, and yet were intimate. Now Nadja looked around and said, "Putting the Russian and American living quarters in different Tauruses was a horrible idea. We work with them during the day, but we spend most of our time here with the same old faces. It only reinforces the divisions between us. Maybe we should offer to exchange half the rooms." Arcady, wolfing down coffee rolls, leaned over from the next table. Okay, I feel like he should have a ridiculous Russian accent, but I'm too afraid to do it. I've never really committed to a voice. Maybe the closest I got was Island when I tried to do Milady's voice. I don't remember her name. The Ronnie. I tried to do the Ronnie's voice. It's gonna be so bad. I'm gonna sound like Spanish. It's gonna be so bad, okay. Arcady. "It's not enough," he said, as if he had been part of their conversation all along. His red beard, growing wilder every day, was dusted with crumbs. "We should declare every other Sunday to be moving day, and have everyone shift quarters on a random basis. People would get to know more of the others. And there would be fewer cliques. And the notion of ownership of the rooms would be reduced." Well, I'm giving up on that. We're fine. Okay, it's not enough, he said. As if he had been part of their conversation. It sounds like a French pirate. I knew the more I thought about it, the less I would be able to do it. So I felt that coming. I already knew it was gonna happen. I'm not even that embarrassed that much, mostly. I can't look. I thought it was a vampire. I almost shot, like, my drink out my nose, which would have ruined this vintage book. We should declare every other Sunday to be moving day and have everyone shift quarters on a random basis. People would get to know more of the others, and there would be fewer cliques, and the notion of ownership of the rooms would be reduced. But I like owning a room, Nadja said. Arkady downed another roll, grinned at her as he chewed. It was a miracle he had passed the selection committee. But Maya brought up the subject with the Americans, and though no one liked Arkady's plan, a single exchange of half of the apartments struck them as a good idea. After some consulting and discussion, the move was arranged. Arkady, the space vampire pirate, I hope he's the main character. I knew he needed a character, but I accidentally gave him too much. Oh no. That's just the way the cookie crumbles, you know? Can this spider, like, go away? Just go live behind the... There you go. You can live behind it. I don't care. A single exchange of half of the apartments struck them as a good idea. After some consulting and discussion, the move was arranged. They did it on a Sunday morning. And after that, breakfast was a little more cosmopolitan. Mornings in the D dining hall now included Frank Chalmers, John Boone, and also Sax Russell, Mary Dunkel, Janet Bly-Levin. Sorry, this is like the anime introduction, like when you get to meet the cast and they like, okay. Frank Chalmers, John Boone, and also Sax Russell, Mary Dunkel, Janet Bly-Levin, Rhea Jimenez, Michelle Duval, and Ursula Cole. Mikhail Duvois. John Boone turned out to be an early riser, getting to the dining hall even before Maya. This room is so spacious and airy. It really has an outdoor feel to it, he said from his table one dawn when Maya came in. A lot better than Bees Hall. Sorry. John Boone's voice did not crack during this scene. A lot better than Bees Hall. The trick is to remove all chrome and white plastic. Dude, this spider, I'm sorry, it's out of control. It's dangling now. He's on the move. Where are you going? I live here. Okay. I'm gonna keep an eye on that bitch. He needs to learn to stay behind things. I am a predator, okay? I will kill you. I will eat you, spider. I'm gonna eat you, spider, okay? You should learn to hide. The trick is to remove all chrome and white plastic, Maya replied. Her English was fairly good, and getting better fast. And then paint the ceiling like real sky. Not just straight blue, you mean? Yes. He was, she thought, a typical American. Simple, open, straightforward, relaxed. And yet, this particular specimen was one of the most famous people in history. It was an unavoidable, heavy fact. But Boone seemed to slip out from under it. Boone seemed to slip out from under it, to leave it around his feet on the floor. Intent on the taste of a roll or some news on the table screen, he never referred to his previous expedition, and if someone brought up the subject, he spoke as if it were no different from any of the flights the rest of them had taken. But it wasn't so, and only his ease made it seem that way. At the same table each morning, laughing at Nadja's lame engineering jokes, making his portion of the talk. After a while, it took an effort to see the aura around him. Frank Chalmers was more interesting. He always came in late and sat by himself, paying attention only to his coffee and the table screen. After a couple of cups, he would talk to people nearby, in ugly but functional Russian. Most of the breakfast conversations in D Hall had now shifted to English to accommodate the Americans. The linguistic situation was a set of nesting dolls. English held all 100 of them. Inside that was Russian. And inside that, the languages of the Commonwealth, and then the internationals. 8 people aboard were idiolinguists, a sad kind of orphaning in Maya's opinion, and it seemed to her they were more Earth-oriented than the rest, and in frequent communication with people back home. It was a little strange to have their psychiatrist in that category. Anyway, English was the ship's lingua franca, and at first Maya had thought that this gave the Americans an advantage. But then she noticed that when they spoke, they were always on stage to everyone, while the rest of them had more private languages they could switch to if they wanted. Frank Chalmers was the exception to all that, however. He spoke 5 languages, more than anyone else aboard. And he did not fear to use his Russian, even though it was very bad. He just hacked out questions and then listened to the answers, with a really piercing intensity and a quick, startling laugh. He was an unusual American in many ways, Maya thought. At first, he seemed to have all the characteristics. He was big, loud, maniacally energetic, confident, restless, talkative enough after that first coffee, friendly enough. It took a while to notice how he turned the friendliness on and off, and to notice how little his talk revealed. Maya never learned a thing about his past, for instance, despite deliberate attempts to chat him up. It made her curious. He had black hair, a swarthy face, light hazel eyes, handsome in a tough guy way. His smile brief, his laugh sharp, like Maya's mother's. His gaze, too, was sharp, especially when looking at Maya. A matter of evaluating the other leader, she assumed. He acted toward her as if they had an understanding built on long acquaintance, a presumption which made her uneasy, given how little they had spoken together in Antarctica. She was used to thinking of women as her allies, and of men as attractive but dangerous problems.